Is it muffin time?
I do. Alright. It is time for... There we go. Okay, it's still working. Good. It is time for another question of the day. It is time for another question of the day. So, hi Shotaro. Today's question of the day is... What is today's question of the day? Today's question... It was not really a question. It's more like a talking thing. But still, it works. Alright, the question is... What are some Genshin hot takes? So, I got a Reddit post here with a bunch of hot takes. If you guys have any, by the way, there is a channel point redemption for it. So we're going to look at both of those. And then we're going to see what people's hot takes are. And then we'll talk about it. Let me fix the YouTube layout real quick. There we go. Perfect. All right. So how are we gonna rank these? Well, not really ranking, kind of ranking, not really ranking. Let's take a look at this. So we're gonna be rating them. I give rating is a better word, right? We're gonna be rating them. We're gonna be rating on them on how hot are they. So how hot are they? So one means it's a cold take. What does a cold take mean? A cold take means everybody has this take. It's something common you hear all the time. It's like, it's not that hot, right? Hot take means like, okay, this is hot. Like nobody really talks about this, thinks about this, or it disagrees with the popular opinion, right? It disagrees with the popular opinion. So if it's that, it's hot. Now the second part is, how based are they? How correct are they? How right are they? With their hot take, is it a hot take but also a garbage opinion? Is it just like, okay, this is not true at all, or is it like, hold on, they're spitting a little bit. Hold on, they might be correct here. So we're gonna be rating it both on both of those things. So let's get it started here. I think we'll look at some of the ones from the Reddit post first, and then we'll look at y'all's after. Let me change this window actually. A little more compact because I'm gonna be writing on this one. This one we're gonna be writing on the thingy, so I'm gonna make it a little bit more compact here. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Let me copy this over. All right. I think this is the one. I have a couple here. So let's go with... This one's from 1 year back. This one's from 5 months back, a little bit more recent. This one's from 4 months back. Let's go old first. Let's go old. We'll go old for this first one. Okay. So here we go. First one here, we got... it's from the person that made the post, too. We got, not every character needs to be playable. MiHoYo should go all out designing major NPCs and no need to make them playable. Okay. So, design NPCs well. I mean, how would you take that? I get the take. Not every character needs to be playable. We should go all design major NPCs and no need to make them playable. Okay. It's almost like two different takes in a way. Not everyone needs to be playable. Make that a little bit smaller. Not everyone needs to be playable / NPCs should have unique designs. Okay. So first of all, let's figure out how hot is this? How hot is this take? Before we agree, disagree, or say whatever it is we need to say, how hot is this take? Is this a hot take or let me think about this. How hot is this take? On a scale of 1 to 5, how hot would I say this take is? It's pretty warm. Yeah, it's definitely not like super hot. Like, I think people do enjoy, like, okay, I think the best point of reference is like Zen Zoneless, right? Because Zen Zoneless has like great NPC designs, but I don't see anybody clamoring to be like, oh, those need to be playable, right? So I'm gonna say it's actually not too hot. Maybe it's a little bit hot, I mean, so yeah, it's a little, it's a tiny bit hot. It's a tiny bit hot because you don't hear it too much. But I don't think anybody's clamoring for like the random NPCs in ZZZ to be playable, right? I don't think so, at least. Most people would probably agree on the NPC design one, but the playable part a lot of people may disagree with, especially with Fatui. That's a good point. Okay. Fatui, that's a good point. That's a good point. Hey, EXO. Okay. So yeah, in terms of hotness, I think a 2. I think a 2 in terms of hotness, right? Because it's not cold, because cold would mean like everybody has that opinion. But I think if you said this to people, most people would agree. I think most people would agree that like it'd be better if like, cause like you have characters like, I think the best example is like, what were the characters during the Lantern Rite? When like, oh, Cloud Retainer has this really cool design, but like all the other Adepti, not Adepti, were they Adepti? The other Adepti, they don't have good designs. We don't care that they're playable or not, but people still wanted good designs on them. So I think if you said this to people, people would generally agree. So I think that's why it's a 2. How based is it though? How based are they? How correct are they? I think, would I generally agree? I mean, I do think I would genuinely agree. I do think it's better if like, you know, because you can turn to characters like the Blue Oni in Ito's story, right? You can turn to like maybe Dunyarzad a little bit, right? You can turn to, I mean, there's a bunch, right? There's a bunch of characters and NPCs who are like, oh, this is an important character for this little story, but it's just an NPC with different clothing, right? So yeah, I would, it's pretty base. I would generally agree. For the most part, I think, yeah, I mean, I would agree. Oh, man, maybe I should make the scale on 10. I think I'm gonna make the scale on 10 because I kind of want to give this an 8. But again, I guess that's saying I want to give it a 4, right? I don't think I'm like super hard into this. Maybe 4.5. Maybe 4.5. I don't think I think the reason I'm saying 4.5 is I don't think it's ultimately necessary. I think it's fine for at the end of the day, we have characters that are like, oh, these are NPC characters, but we're gonna give them a unique clothing because they're a unique character we're using for this story segment. And it's just like, if we're only gonna see them like once for one story segment or like a couple of times, it's not that big of a deal that they don't have like very, very unique designs. Would I want like unique designs if it's a unique character? Yeah. But do I need that? I don't think I need that. I don't think I need it. Right? I don't think I need it. The only guys I've seen people clamor for playable ZZ are like Pompeii and those furries. Yeah. But those are enemies, so I'm not sure that actually counts. Yeah. These are being copy and paste for the other similar NPCs, make sure the character less noticeable, which needs to be more important. I don't know if I fully agree with that. Like, my Dunyarzad is still Dunyarzad to me. Like, I still see the NPC design in her, but I understand that point for sure. I definitely understand that point. Like, again, would I want Dunyarzad to have a unique? I think that's a really good example. Would I want Dunyarzad to have a unique design? 100 times yes. But is it ultimately that big a deal to me? Not really. I think I'm fine with it. I would want it, but I'm fine with how it is now. Imagine how less interesting Yaksha would be if they were just NPCs with masks. That's a good point, too. You're not wrong. Yeah, the 2D animated segment gave them very unique designs. They never had actual models, right? That's a good point, too. I think that's why I'll give it a 4.5. I think it's only advantageous, but I'm at the end of the day, I don't think it's vital, I guess is the best way for me to put it. Okay, so hotness of 2. Baseness of 4.5. That's where I'm standing. Alright, what's the next one? Okay, I like that one. Boop. Alright. Using food to heal is perfectly normal and not cheating. Okay. That's definitely more of a casual thing, right? Using food to heal is not cheating. Alright, how hot does this take? I don't think it's very hot. I feel like most people would agree, right? Yeah, I think most people would just agree. This is like 0.5. Like, the amount of people actually complaining that somebody else is using food in their own game is like, who's even complaining about that? Who's even complaining about that? So people believe that using food is cheating. I mean, a lot of people like this comment. People hate on that. Yeah. Meanwhile, me with 30% crit rate from plate of spaghetti. People think people eating chicken is cheating. My favorite memory of Genshin is when I was playing with my friends who had recently. Oh shoot. Who recently decided we're gonna fight the Oceanid. We took long and she charged up the end of the move, fight killing everybody except for me. I went to my menu and spammed food and shuttling until the attack was done, making the sole survivor and keeping the fight going. I said, get here back quick because I'm going to need backup, which my friend said, you're still alive. They came back when we finished the fight. Okay, that's sweet. Yeah, I think that's the thing with this one, right? It's not hot at all. Yeah, I think ultimately, like, people just don't care, right? I think ultimately people just don't care at all. Who cares? Who cares if people individually play Genshin, right? Like, it's, yeah, this is correct, but it's just like, whatever. Like, who cares? Only case of it's cheating if someone else is trying to lie about their stats. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. But that, like, barely happens, right? The most I see hating on food is when people use food buffs in Showcase, but that's not what they're talking about anyway. Okay. That might be what they're talking about since Showcases are competition to an extent with some. Okay. So let's change it, because this is not interesting. Let's change it to something a little bit more interesting. For using food, I'm gonna change it. For damage showcase is not cheating. That's more interesting. Okay, because this one, I think this one's a little bit more contentious. Because, so when I do damage showcases, I don't use food. Because I don't see it as cheating, but I see it as, like, it's not a representation of, like, my character, right? Because I'm not always going to have that food bonus. You know, I'm not always going to have, like, maybe the extra critical of some critical food, of some critical rate, or rate's usually not the thing with damage testing. But, like, I'm not going to have the bonuses of food in, like, normal combat, so why would I include it? So if we're talking damage showcases, so if the take is saying using food for, not two, for, using food for a damage showcase is not cheating. I would say that's pretty hot because I would consider food cheating, in a way. As long as they don't hide it. Okay, that's one way to put it. I think it's fine if people are like to hate when COP non-DPS character do damage. Yeah. I guess because food or surviving or whatever is being seen as cheating sounds too ridiculous to be. Yeah, food buffs are cheating but shouldn't be used for a showcase. Yeah, that's kind of what more I'm saying. Maybe cheating is a harsh word, right? Maybe cheating is a harsh word. But the basis of this hot take, right, is like, at least the way I see it is like, well, that's not your real, what you're really capable of, right? You're not gonna have that extra critical or whatever when you go into like Abyss or like normal content. You're not gonna have that. That's why I don't think that's like a correct representation of your stats. If you're doing it for general gameplay thing, using food is kind of unrepresentative. Damage showcase, sure. You're trying to pull the biggest number, it's whatever. But that's why I think it's cheating though, because it's just like, I mean, I think ultimately Lynn's point is the most correct. Is like, if you're using food, you need to say you're using food, right? Like, I think it's like, if you're using food, you need to say you're using food, because that's not what your real stats are. That's not your actual build, right? It's like, it's your build plus something extra that you're not going to normally have. So that's why I would say that, like, it is maybe not cheating. It's a bit extreme. But it's like, I would not ever put food on if I'm doing a damage showcase. Because it's just like, well, this is what my character is capable of. Can't use food whenever you want. Yeah. So I would say that's a 3. Because I think using food for a damage showcase, I would be like, that's not a real damage showcase or whatever. Like, if somebody showed that to me, like, oh, here's my YouTube video and it's a damage showcase, and I saw they had food buffs on, like, frame 1, I would be like, oh, they have food buffs on. Like, I'd be like, oh, come on, dude, show it without your food buffs or whatever, right? Like, I would definitely say that. I would definitely do that, because it's just like, well, hold on, this is food buffs. Let's see it without the food buffs, because it's like you're inflating it in a way, right? But I guess maybe the argument can also be made of just like, oh, you fight Skara while showing off your damage showcase. Like, it's a little, I don't know. I feel like Skara is a little bit different, though, because it's like, see, that one's interesting. of like using food buffs versus fighting an enemy that has like strictly like super low defense. I think it's a little bit different, and the reason why I think it's different is like you're selecting what test dummy you want to fight, right? Because like if you wanted to do the damage test against a neutral enemy, you fight like I don't know. A lot of people fight the Primo Bishop or like the whatchamacallit, the Matrix in like Abyss. Like that's what a lot of people do damage showcase as well as those guys. Or just damage sponges in general. I've seen people fight what is it, the fat dendro chicken thing from Natlan. I think that's as crazy. Scar searches are a little too lame for me, not gonna lie, unless they're just doing it for fun. Yeah, yeah. If you want to share your showcase, high damage is fine. Just don't use it as a guide on how to build a character. That too, of course. Yeah, of course, that too. I just see on YouTube videos about stuff like DPS Visor where it's obviously not going to be crazy, so they use food buffs for it to be better. That's where I see the hate for the most part. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's stuff for me where it's just like, oh, I'm showing DPS showcase off a character that isn't normally run, and they use food buffs. Like, I would think that's lame, because it's like, okay, well, I want to see it without the food buffs. There is one other case where food buffs are acceptable, and that's for compensating for bad artifact stat rolls. Yeah, I don't think many people do that, but that's fair. Yeah. Okay, in terms of the basedness of it, not cheating, yeah, I think ultimately like a 2. Are they correct? It's like, it depends. I think, no, I'm gonna say that's a 1. At least for me personally, that's a 1. Because I think if you're trying to show off damage, I think if you're trying to show off damage or what your character is capable of, I think you don't include the food. I think you don't include the food. Because most of the content you'll be trying to be using your damage is not even going to have food available. So I would say not include the food, personally. Cool. Okay. Better change that one around a little bit, but still got something from that one. Okay. It is okay for a playable character it is okay if a playable character is dead in the storyline. Okay. I don't know. Is that one that interesting? It's certainly something that hasn't been done yet. It's okay. How'd they put it? If a playable character is dead, okay. It's okay if a playable character is dead in the storyline. It's okay if a playable character is dead in the storyline. Yeah, it's already been done in Star Rail. True. I think that's pretty cold, to be honest with you. I think people are generally fine with it. Well, I say that, and then people were just like, if Xiao had died in that one cutscene at what was that place called again? I keep thinking of Chenyu Vale. It's not Chenyu Vale. That one place. I forget what it is. There's a difference though between writing philosophy for Star vs. Genshin. Yeah, that's true. How can they be a dead character be playable? What would be explanation? I like Tingyun. Tingyun's dead in Star Rail. Well, yeah, the recent revelations that changed, but it's okay if a playable character is dead. Like, I feel like for the most part, people would be pretty fine with it, right? I don't think that's super hot. I think for the most part, people would be fine with it. They're all basically dead since they're all forgotten. It's a bit controversial if they show up in later events. A dead character means it's harder for them to have certain interactions. Yeah. Yeah, Misha doesn't exist anymore. Gallagher doesn't exist anymore. That's true. Is Shenhua died in her story quest but showed up in the next Lantern, right? Yeah, that'd be weird. Yeah, I guess this is Genshin specific. But I feel like for the most part, from a player perspective, like, I think players would generally be fine if a playable character was dead in the storyline, right? Time for a Senora release? Yeah, right? Like, they could release some... Yeah, I think it's the opposite, right? Like, people would... Well, in the case of Senora, people want a dead character to be playable, right? People want a dead character to be playable, so it's almost like a negative one. Is that a negative one? Because people want a dead character to be playable. Is that a would I count that as a negative one? People want the opposite. If a playable character is dead, I would be more attached to them if they're not in the future story. You think so? Okay. It might be different if their past encounter was good. Okay. I mean, it's interesting. I think Gallagher and Misha are the best examples of it. But at the same time, kind of Genshin. Styro kind of played it off easy, right? Because they're 4 stars. There's definitely a difference in like love that people have between like a 5 star and a 4 star. So it's almost like Styro got off easy. Same thing with Tingyun as well. Tingyun is also a 4 star. It would be strange for a game like Genshin Impact with how with how the events and the story goes on. Yeah, do you think Genshin intentionally tries to bring characters back a little bit more often? If it's purely for playing the character, it's fine. For story immersion, it's bad. Yeah. Okay. I don't think it's hot though, right? I think ultimately, right? People would be fine if for story reasons X, Y, and Z character died, right? And it's just like, but they're still playable. Yeah, I don't think it's hot at all. Whether it's based, whether it's correct, right? Whether it's correct or it's based or you agree, however you want to call it. Do I agree? Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think it's that based, but I do generally agree, I would say. I would generally agree. It's okay for playable characters. Yeah, right? Because I'm a proponent of good storytelling, and sometimes good storytelling needs a character death. I don't agree with the idea that, like, a lot of characters need to die first. How do I say this? That makes sense. Story does not need character death for a story to be impactful. I think a lot of the times people think that of like, oh, if no one died, then it's like, oh, this wasn't impactful or whatever. But like, characters need to die for it to be impactful. If anything, I almost feel like sometimes character deaths can be a bit cheap in the sense of just like, oh, well, if you have a character death, then it's like you're all automatically getting impact there. It's not bad, but it would be interesting to have those playable characters. Okay. I clogged my zinc. I missed a lot of the takes so far. No, these are the only 3 so far. We've only had 3 so far. The characters in Styro were introduced as playable characters first and had involvement before leaving, so it's possible, but it has to be done right. Yeah. And even then, I think Styro takes the easy way out by making them all 4 stars. Once they do a 5-star and then that happens, that'll be interesting, right? That'll be interesting. Everybody's dreading for Himiko. But yeah, I don't think it's a very hot take. I think most people would be generally fine with it. Yeah. And yeah, I would agree for the most part. If it makes a better story, don't feel like you don't need to. If a story writer feels like this character has gotta go, embrace it. I think that's how I feel. I think embrace it. Okay. Let's get a new round. Let's get a new set. All right. I'll get them a new form. And dude, this person was spitting. Hold on. Yo, we got Nostradamus here 1 year ago. Do you see that? Bro, Nostradamus. Check this out. Predicted resurrected Tingyun. Fuegue. Wait, was it? Fuegue or whatever her name is. We got Nostradamus over here. Or get them a new form. That's crazy. Okay. Lumine is better than Aether. Okay. Okay, sure, why not? Lumine is better than Aether. Lumine better than Aether. Okay, how hot is that? How hot is that? Oh man, I wonder why he thinks that. Is that hot? I feel like people in general like Lumine a little bit better. I feel like in general people like Lumine a little bit better. Better as main protagonist? See, that's a good question. I think we need to add that extra layer, maybe. As MC. Okay, let's add that little extra layer. Because I think if that extra layer is there, it's actually quite a hot take. I think if we add that little bit extra layer, I would say that's at least a 3 on the hot take spectrum. Because, at least in my opinion, I think Lumine is much better as the villain. I don't think Aether is necessarily better as a protagonist, but Lumine as the Abyss sibling is just perfect casting. I think that's perfect. I think there's something, at least for me personally, I think there's something a little bit off about Aether being the Abyss sibling. I feel like he just doesn't fit into the role quite well. She's a better antagonist. I agree. Yeah, I actually agree. But in terms of them being MCs, I think they're more or less equal. But it's mostly just the antagonist angle. I think Lumine fits into that role just so much better. I think she just fits into it so much better. So I'm gonna honestly give that a 3.5. I think that's quite hot because this implies that Aether is Abyss sibling. We'll imply that at the bottom. Why not, right? Aether is Abyss sibling. Okay, there it is. Lumine is better than Aether as the MC, and Aether is the Abyss sibling in this case. Yeah, I think that's generally pretty hot. I think that's a pretty hot take. Aether's a bit too soft. Yeah, like I feel like whenever Aether is Abyss sibling in cutscenes, or I see cutscenes with it, I just don't get good antagonists from him. I don't get good antagonists. I get like kind of somber, not wanting to do this type of situation. Like he doesn't feel super into it. But whenever I see Lumine in this role, I'm just like, she's begrudgingly doing this, but she's convicted. Like I don't get conviction from Aether. I just don't. I really can't. I really can't. Like I think Lumine is much better at displaying conviction. Aether seems a bit more callous. Lumine seems a bit more callous. Even her voice works better for an antagonist. I agree. Yeah, I do not agree with this take. But not less so because I don't think Lumine is a good MC. I just think Lumine is just a far superior. What is it? I think she's just a far superior antagonist. Only because I hate Aether, so I'm biased. Fair. Okay, cool. All right. What's the next one? Agree. I can't explain it, but her expressions have so much more sass in them compared to Aether's. Okay. The Reddit comments were taking this from a different angle. They were more so talking about the MC angle. Her sarcastic remarks on the facial reactions are so lovely. I feel like they're really similar, but don't they have the same right. Interesting. Okay. No, see, it seems like nobody's taking the angle that we took. Of like Aether's Lumine is just a much better antagonist. I like Lumine as the protagonist, but it'd be much better if Aether as a villain was better. Yeah, Aether just doesn't convince me of a villain. Aether can't convince me of him being a villain. Lumine can convince me. Enjo being Lumine's biggest fan feels more right. Yeah. Like things like Enjo, add up a bit well. Oh my goodness. People, this person has a lot. Okay, we got to pick one of these. Which one's the most interesting? Barbara is a really good and underrated character for the open world. That's who cares. This is the creep, not. Okay, that's kind of weird. Write an after request is still an a-hole. That's an interesting one. Nahida's kind of boring. Ooh, that's a bit interesting as well. Miko's really bullying an unpleasant person. Okay. The whole personality of Aika is made completely for simps. Okay. Which one of these is the most interesting? I want to pick one. Aether's VA is too soft voice-wise. I agree with that too. I think it's more so Aether's design rather than the VA. I would agree with that too, actually. Okay. The Ayaka. You want to pick the Ayaka one? All right. That's the most descriptive. Ayaka's personality is made for simps. Ayaka's personality. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. Let me BRB real quick. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. Da, 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 da. Okay, I'm back. Alright, let's see what you guys were saying about this while I was BRB. The Ayaka one, I can see it. Is Ayaka the one people call pick me girl or whatever? I don't think Ayaka's a pick me girl. That's a very different type of person. What is it? A pick me girl is like that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different. Like she definitely likes the traveler, but I don't think she's a pick me. I don't like Ayaka, but I don't hate Ayaka, but I don't like her either. Okay. I actually dislike Ayaka's personality, even though it fits her background. Okay. I hate Ayaka, so it's this one too. I don't dislike her, but her personality is way too irritating for me. I do get the pick me energy, but I don't know enough about her to say. Okay. People call everybody simps if they like the female character. Mm-hmm. Ayaka's whole personality in the story has been dumbed down to just being love with the traveler. I think that aspect about her is definitely brought up a lot whenever she's brought up. But it's not there every time, right? If you go back to the event where she and Ayato go to Fontaine, it's like that. It's not really brought up then. She's more of a neutral character then. I feel like that's a fan-on thing. Yeah. Ash is the better sibling gameplay and lore-wise. Part of me doesn't understand her feelings for the Traveler when there's a much more dedicated person already in her life, which is Toma. I mean, Ayaka is definitely the type of character that's like been in a place for a while and kind of want to goes out a little bit more. It definitely is like her energy. So I do think it makes more sense for her to be into the Traveler, who's a bit more of a wild and out there person in terms of his actions, at least. See what people think Firefly is? I think Firefly is worse, actually. I think Firefly's personality is a lot more like for simps, if you want my opinion with that. This post is in fact checked by a real Fire relationship with the MC generally fits her character though. My problem with Firefly is just like it's kind of what Taco said about Ayaka earlier. That's all she is now. She's just my kawaii anime girlfriend, in that also can turn into a mech. That's all she just does. Like I don't know. Like she, like the best way I can do it is she does like cutesy low key girlfriend stuff. I don't know. It just feels I don't know. The relationship makes sense, but they pushed it way too hard. Yeah, I would agree with that too. That's the fandom's fault, both Ayaka and Firefly. But I feel like Firefly does it a lot more in game. Definitely. Like, yeah, I would agree that the relationship is fine. But even then, like, it just feels very, like... My problem with Firefly is she just feels, like, constructed instead of, like, a natural kind of character. It feels very much like... Let's make let's make a character who's just really obsessed with the main character, and then that's her personality. I guess is just kind of my issue with her. And Ayaka can fall under that too, but I just feel like it's just a lot more intensive with Firefly, just because I think my problem with it is also the Sam aspect of it, because I feel like I mean this is mostly I feel like the problem with like before. I think my problem with it is like the Sam thing is like I feel like Sam has been deleted as a character because we know Sam is Firefly now, and I think her and Sam feel really separate. Like, and maybe you can say like, oh, that's kind of like her separating her soldierness from like who she actually is as a person, maybe. But it feels like there was never a natural kind of link there. But that's a whole different start of a conversation. Firefly in general kind of felt shoved into the story. Yeah, or who should she just feels forced, I guess is honestly my main point with Firefly. She just feels very forced. Like everything about her just feels forced. She has better characters to show with her fighting to live a normal life, which the relationship is a part of, but they only focus on that to bait Sims. Yeah. It's also strange to me how certain characters get turned into just liking the MC when there's others that also like the MC, but people don't do that to them. Yeah. Like again, I think I think it gets brought up with Ayaka a decent amount, but I don't think that's her only character trait. Like I don't think that's her only trait. Because again, I looked to the the Chevres event, if you guys remember that one. In the Chevres event, I don't even think it's brought up at all, unless I am forgetting. Like I think she's more so focused on acting and the aspects when it comes to that story as well. That's Noelle. She's like the maid character. She has no chill. Really? I thought she was pretty chill. You think so? Like she just kind of just wants to do her best. But sometimes she's too naive or too strong for her own good. She's literally trying to abandon her identity as an Crowley member and live a normal life. No, again, I get that, but there's there's no like okay, this is the best way I can say it. There is no Sam in Firefly. Like I get it if it's just like, oh, she's trying to be a different person. I understand that. But those aspects just don't magically go away in a day. You know what I mean? But there doesn't seem to be any Sam in Firefly. They seem like two completely separate characters. Like completely separate characters. Like there's no like nothing that Firefly does even gives I don't want to say hints, but like there's no like they just I mean yeah they just seem like two completely different characters. If Akam had more story quests or was involved in others to show that more she's actually like even the Inazuma said she feels rushed. Yeah, that's why I turned to that Fontaine event quest. I think that's the Fontaine event quest is a good example of like the type of character she is without being attached to the Traveler. She comes to the Traveler after she went on her way to help study and train for the end of the exam multiple times. I was supposed to where Noelle and Traveler thing was going on. I did her hang out and I found her really annoying for the first time. She like, because like her energy never leaves, and when she gets in the Traveler, you think so? I mean, I haven't played too many of the Noelle stuff. It's definitely not brought up in the main story. I feel like whenever she's in the main story, it's just like whenever Noelle's in the main story, she's more of a character that's just like she tries to do her best, and sometimes she can mess up, or she's just always there to like help people for better or for worse. Yeah, it is a little off topic. They kind of are. Sam is the seller and hunter, and Firefly's the normal person she's trying to be. Right, but there's no. I get that idea, but the fact that there is little to no like like similarities at all is just weird to me. I think that's just weird because I think that's what makes me dislike Firefly because Firefly just acts like the Trailblazer's girlfriend. Anyway, going back to Ayaka. Um. I mean, the initial stuff. How hot is this? This doesn't feel too hot, though. I feel like most people would agree. I don't think this is that hot, right? Because a lot of people talk about that with Ayaka. Not too many people talk about like the other aspects of Ayaka, so I wouldn't say that's hot at all. She's been trying her hardest to separate those identities since she joined the Silent Hunters. At least that's probably been a while. Right, but there's a difference between trying their hardest and you've done it already. She's not trying, she's done it. Like, it's already been done. Yeah, it's not that she's trying. She's not trying at all, actually. And that's my problem, is that if I saw her trying, I think that would have been cool. But it's like, it's already been accomplished. It's just, it's just two separate characters. I think that's my issue, is that there's two separate characters. We didn't get to see any, like, transition at all. There's no progression, right? Ooh, excuse me. Um, is it based? Do I agree? Is it based? Is it based? Ayaka's personality is made for Sims. I mean, I don't think it's made for. I think we need to reframe maybe what the question is asking, right? Because if the question or the statement slash the hot take, if the hot take being proposed is like is made for Sims, I don't think so. Because does she simp for like the main character? Quite a few times, yes. But is her personality made for Sims? To be honest, maybe this is its own hot take. I think Arlecchino is more. Like, I think the mommy characters are a little bit more made for Sims because, you know, like of how they are, like how they're like marketed, let's say, or let's call it. Like, I don't know if I agree with this. If again, what was the person saying? Her whole the personality of Ayaka is made completely for Sims. Yeah, I honestly think that like yeah characters like the mommy characters like Arlecchino is more like honestly it depends on what we consider a simp, like something that simps would be into, like what's the type of character, or even to be honest with you, even Farina, right? If again if we want to how we want to define it of just like hey this is a character that we've kind of created for you to care about, I think Farina is a bit more too, because the way Farina's stories panned out, everybody like babies her and just like oh my precious and things like that, like I need to protect her and things like that. I think even Farina is a bit more too, like when I think simp, I think people are just like essentially like intense liking or whatever, right? um so I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. Like I get what they're saying, because like Ayaka's the type of character that's like, oh, I never really knew like really had super close friends, and like a character that's like um pretty often seems like not obsessed with the main character, but like likes the main character a lot. But would I agree with the specific statement that her personality is made for Sims? I don't think so. Or like character. I like calling them a sim for wanting to be in a relationship with them through the traveler, or admiring them or finding them attractive. I guess that's the question, right? They're not. I mean, they're not broad enough. Oh, thanks for the bits, Nova. They're not broad enough. Whole personality of Ayaka is made completely. Okay, let's. I wonder. Did anybody else talk about Ayaka? Lisa. 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 Everybody's just talking about Lisa. Lisa, Miko, Lisa. Everybody's talking about Lisa. Nahida, Ayaka. Besides Nahida and Ayaka, all those are primary reasons why I don't like the characters. Most people are disagreeing with Nahida. Nobody's talking about Ayaka. We picked the one character we was really talking about. Barbara, Miko. Yeah, nobody talks about Ayaka actually. Wow, that's crazy. We picked the one character. People are also not talking about Raiden. As someone who loves Ayaka, I agree. Oh, but they didn't go into detail. Yeah, it's not it's very vague. It's not as the difference between the Kafa Makino and the Ayakas or Fireflies. I agree with this. Lisa's personality was made for simps. I agree with that. Yeah. I think Lisa's a better example. We're not calling Xiao simp because he's the biggest. So that's true. If people want to play the Ayaka game, they also got to play the Xiao game as well. Xiao is also. Okay, let's go for the angle that wanting. Okay. Let's go with the angle of if we're talking about this, we're talking about this virtual character wants to be in a relationship with me. Like I am the conduit. Like the main character is a conduit of me. I am the conduit of the main character, right? And let's go off that angle because I think that's the angle that they're talking about when it comes to Ayaka. And so based on that angle, I think sometimes she can be that way, but she's not always that way. And the most recent event kind of shows that, which is why I don't completely agree. Traveler, give her a no. I mean, I think the Traveler Ayaka ship is pretty good. I'm actually a big fan of it. But I can see where this is coming from. She always sims if you extreme self. Yeah, right. I think this is talking more so the self-insert angle. Which again, I think if she did it, because the reason why I brought up Firefly, because I think it happens every single time with Firefly. I cannot think of a single event where Firefly isn't half flirting or full flirting with the Trailblazer, or there isn't some relationship-esque thing going on. I cannot think of a single moment. But with Ayaka, I can think of a couple moments where she's not just doing that. There was a whole event around that where she's an actress, and that stuff isn't really brought up at all. It's more so her acting role and things like that. So I wouldn't fully agree, personally. I can't do that. I think Firefly's a different case, to be honest with you. No, I think they're similar-esque. I have no idea what's yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.5, maybe. I'm halfway there. We're looking at Genshin hot takes. Ignore this one. This one's not real yet. We've gone through 5 so far. So if you're wondering what the icons mean, the fire means how hot are the hot takes. The electro icon means how based are they, how / correct, or do I agree, or whatever. We looked at not everybody needs to be playable. NPCs should have unique designs. Not that hot, but generally agree. Using food for damage showcase is not cheating. I think it's decently hot. I don't agree with it. I think if you use food for showcase, that's not the point. It's okay if playable character is dead in the storyline. I put -1 because people want Senora to be playable and she's already dead. And I think, yeah, generally agree. I believe she reduced that due to people focusing on that. Okay. I wasn't very interested in her in the story, but because we don't get to see her ambitions or as a character more in the story, Shenhua is also interested in the Traveler, but we don't see that mentioned too much. And I think it's because we got to focus more on her character. Okay. That's fair. And I do think the times we do just see her just be herself, it's she's fine, right? Again, go back to the I keep mentioning the Fontaine quest. I think the Fontaine quest is a great example of it. Ayaka just gets to be herself in that Fontaine quest, and she's fine, right? She doesn't talk about how obsessive she is with the Traveler or anything like that. It's just she is here to do business things, and she is an actress, and she does actress stuff, and it's cool. It's chill. Ayaka wants to know more about the outside world. Right. I think that's more emphasized in the Fontaine quest as well. Like her wanting to know more about the outside world. Her main reliability point with the traveler was pizza. Pizza. Well, food, right? Wasn't it food in general? Noel. I don't know where this Noel thing comes from. At least for me, whenever I think of Noel, I just think of a character that wants to do good to a fault. That's what. Whenever I think of Noel, that's what I think of. A character that wants to do good to a fault of herself, or a fault of what is it? Being used too much by people. I've never really seen her obsessed with the main character. Okay, let's go to the next one. There's some other ones here. We might come back to this person's. Let's get a fresh one. I don't use Shunling. I don't care how good she is. I just find her rotations to be clunky and unfun. Okay. Is that a hot take, though? What's the take? It's not really a take, though. That's an opinion? What's the actual take here? I feel like we can change this into a hot take. How do we change this into a hot take? Shunling is unfun. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. Shungling is on. I think the take is that Shunling is clunky and therefore not as good as people say. Takes our opinions, though. I guess so. Okay. I don't use Shunling. I don't care how good she is. I find her rotations to be clunky and unfun. Okay. Shunling is unfun and clunky. I mean, Shunling isn't worth building? That's a take. Okay, that's a good take. That is certainly a take. That is certainly a take. Takes our opinions, though. Yeah, no, I know. I understand that takes our opinions. This one is just like, I don't use Shunling. It's like, cool. And it's like, I don't use Shunling, and then here are my reasons for not using Shunling, and it's just like, cool. I don't see how that's a take, though. Okay. Okay, cool. Shunling isn't worth building. Okay, here we go. So is this a hot take? It's pretty hot. It is pretty hot. Like, if we're going this is the take, Shunling isn't worth building, I think that is pretty hot, right? Because everybody says to build her. The hot take I submitted was Shunling is overrated. Okay, we can use that if that's the one you hear. Like, oh yeah, wait, I forgot you guys put some in too. My bad. Hold up. I forgot y'all put some in. Yeah, wait, hold on. I'm changing it again. Sorry. I'm changing it again. Where's the one window? Here we go. All right. I did put a hot takes request, so all right, let's look at Lynn's first, because Lynn's relates to this one, and then we'll look at some of your guys' other ones. Yeah, let's take a little bit of break from the Reddit. Let's take a little bit of break from the Reddit, and let's look at your guys' hot takes. Okay, so Lynn says Shunling is overrated. Okay, that's a bit more broad, and that would count as a take as well. Is overrated. Okay, here we go. All right. Shunling is overrated. How hot is this take? I think this is overrated, though. That's lukewarm. Yeah. Shunling is overrated. Because me personally, I think she's perfectly rated. I think the amount of people that talk about her is accurate to how good she is. I don't care whether someone builds Shunling or not, but if I had to defend it, I would ask how many teams characters require Shunling. Do you need those teams? Yeah. With newer units that have come out, she's not necessary as she once was. I mean, there's a difference between like necessary and trying to do your best, right? Because if you're trying to get the best output out of your character, Shunling's in a lot of teams. Is she overrated? But is she overrated is the take. How hot is that take? I mean, yeah, I think it's in the middle, right? I think that is a 2.5. I think that is in the middle. I think she's perfectly rated. Yeah, I think she's perfectly rated as well. She's versatile in part because of her publication with no internal cooldown. Yeah, most people still consider her a must build and will say that your account is automatically worse if you haven't built her. It's definitely always worth it to build her. That's true. As for the underrated point, she's about where she needs to be in the ranking. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so I think that's a 2.5. I think people will definitely say that you definitely don't need her, especially with a lot of like new characters that come out. But what is it? Yeah, cold would be like everybody says this. Like nobody says this. Nobody says this too often, right? But some people will say it because it's like, oh, I have to play Shunling, right? She's everywhere. I heard the Bennett one's a bit overrated. That Bennett's definitely not as used as Shunling because not everybody's attack scaling anymore, and even more so, some of the best characters are HP scaling. So, and those doesn't even need a Bennett. A lot of the times in those situations, you just take Bennett because of Shunling, because Bennett Shunling is like an insane combo. You'll take the Bennett in that team just because he can buff just the Shunling, and that's it. Okay. Mhm. When is Shunling not with Bennett? Um, that's a good point. I would probably say like maybe some Neuvillette teams if you're doing like Neuvillette Vaporize is really good. I would probably play that without Bennett. You just play like what is it? Neuvillette, Farina, Anemo, Shunling. That's like a really good team. I mean like Neuvillette has like 10,000 teams, so that's probably one of them. Shunling wants to kill the purple turtle. She'll in the event. In terms of how much I agree, yeah, I think this is also 2.5. I think she's perfectly rated. I don't think she's overrated. I don't think she's underrated. I think she's just perfectly rated. So, I don't. Yeah, yeah, I'm just halfway. I think she's perfectly rated. I mean, even if she gets like quote unquote power craft by Mavuika, it doesn't mean she's going. She's still insane. She's just insane, and you have more options. If she's like, let's say, if Mavuika does similar stuff to her but better, her energy feels kind of bad without Bennett. That's valid. That's valid. In my experience, many people far overrate her. Whether that's my experience, not everybody's. Okay. I mean, there's a reason why so many people use her. She is that good. That's why I say that. I think that's why I call her perfectly rated. Is because she is easily one of the best characters in this game. I hate Twitter. What else is new? Okay. Yeah, I would say I'm halfway for both. I think it's maybe a halfway hot take because like a lot of people definitely do complain about Chunling, um, because they see her way too much. But there's a reason people we see her too much because she's redonkulous. She's absolutely redonkulous. Okay. All right. Let's look at the other ones from chat, and then we'll go back to the Reddit. Boop. All right. So that one's good. Kave is good. You just don't know how to use it. Okay. Sure. Boop. Kave is good. Don't know how to use him. All right, there we go. All right. I mean, if this is the take, it is pretty hot to be honest with you. Hold on. Just don't know. Okay. If any, I feel like if a lot of people were to rank Kave, he'd be very low. Like if I were to rank Kave myself, I would put him definitely at the bottom of the barrel. So in terms of hot, I feel like that's pretty hot. If we're talking hot take, that is quite hot. That is quite hot, especially based on all the ones we've seen today. I'm just resaying the text here. Don't mind me. Oops. It's not a hot take. That's copium. It is copium. Yes, it is also copium. This is true. It is true. It is also copium. You can say that to every character. To be honest, every character's highest potential is different. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on what the definition of good is. I stand by it. It depends what the definition of good is. I think what Kave's main, I think the issue here is that Kave is a flawed character, and I think his biggest flaw is that he's not Catalyst. For some ungodly reason, he is a pure Bloom character with a Claymore, which is number one. That is the slowest attacking like weapon in the game, and number two, you can only get blooms when he has the burst up, which doesn't last super long. Like if we're comparing it to like the Nilou like skill duration, which is also just a skill compared to a burst, like it's not like it's just not that crazy, I guess, is my big thing. Hit attack speed constellations that's cancelled by hit lag from the claymores. Okay, at least that's a little bit better. But I feel like it should go from normal to insane, not like slow to normal. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was claymore, for example, if he was not claymore, if he was catalyst, excuse me, if he was catalyst, for example, it would have gone from normal to like, oh, this is him at extreme speed, and it's like, oh my goodness, these blooms are crazy. I guess that's what it is. It's like, as if it's the oh, it's bad? Oh, really? Oh, okay, that's what you guys are saying. It's bad. Oh, it's just straight up bad. Okay, I didn't fully comprehend that at first. That is canceled by Eula suffers from the same thing. Wait, so what's the problem? I see what you guys are saying. It's a speed buff, but the speed buff doesn't help with the speed. But why? Like why is the speed buff not helping with the speed? I don't fully comprehend. Him being a claymore even then negates the speed con. Attack speed does nothing for claymore characters. Does it actually not make them hit faster? Is that what you're saying? Hit lag slows his swings the moment his weapon hits an enemy. Oh, really? So you're saying that like even though he has a speed buff, ultimately the rotation is the same speed because of the hit lag. So the Dendro application rate is the same. Right, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, okay, I didn't know that. Gotcha. That is pretty stupid. Okay, yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, no, I genuinely did not know that. Okay, that's pretty dumb. Okay. People compare him to Alhaitham, and that's unfair since he's a 5-star. He doesn't benefit from Hyper Bloom, and he's jailed to Bloom, but he never dies as he heals from Bloom cores, according to the ZM. Okay, that's true too. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I think this is hot, right? Because I think he is an inherently flawed character for these reasons, right? He's a Bloom character with the worst tools a Bloom character could have. Why did they make him Claymore? I mean, yeah, that's just it, right? It's ultimately why did they make him Claymore, not Catalyst? A positive for Kave, he's very unkillable. Okay, valid. Hey. That's why even with Mika, Eula will get the same stacks for her burst anyway. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. Never knew that, but it does make sense. Yeah. And would I agree with this? Yeah, I think that's the reasons why I don't ultimately agree either. Is that yeah, he's just too flawed. His bloom cores are pretty strong. I'm not saying that he's not flawed. He's a good character, and he's good at. He's not flexible, but it doesn't make him bad. Yeah, I don't think like. I think that's a good point. Yeah, no, that's a valid point. I think he definitely isn't a bad character, and he definitely makes Nilou's blooms stronger, right? It's really just the fact that he's a claymore. That's really the main thing that's holding him back. If he was just a catalyst, he would be fine. Or at least he would be like a really good option. But yeah, that's the main problem is that he is so slow because of that claymore. But he's definitely not bad. I guess that's true. Yeah. He's not the like. Okay, I'll give it. I'll boost it up to a 0.5. I'll boost it up to a 0.5 in agreement. I think maybe people talk him down too much. Like, if you play him how he should be played, he's not a bad... Like, Bloom is a good build. Like, he can't... If you're playing him correctly, he's not going to be bad, because Bloom is inherently a good build. Right? Like, you can't... Like, this is not like... He's not a physical character, or he's not like a... I'm trying to think of another example. Like, he's not a character that uses like he's not like a superconduct character or a shadow character, right? He's a character in a build that's very easy to build, and he will be fine in that build, and that build will be a good build. Like, the main problem is that, like, yeah, he himself is not suited for it, which is weird because they made him Claymore. Yeah, ER to get the burst. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah, I think 0.5. I think I'll give that to 0.5. Because yeah, like you said, Bloom is a good build. Like, Bloom is not going to be a bad build if you're playing it correctly, right? Bloom is not going to be a bad build, and you just play him in Bloom, so yeah. Bloom cards are pretty strong. Yeah. A lot of people don't know or care how to use him. Yeah. That doesn't make him bad. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think he's bad either. I think he's definitely flawed, and I think he has like issues. But yeah, he's not a bad character, because if you play him like if you play him how he should be played, he's gonna be fine. It's gonna be a little bit strange, and you could probably put almost any other character there, but it's gonna be fine. Like, you'll be fine. Bloom is a good build. You'll be fine. I get it. Okay, I'll give it a 0.5 for that. I decided to I've made a terrible skate. I'll not be playing Chaska, but her weapon as well. That's a good thing. She's riding a gun. That's freaking badass. If you pull for a character that literally rides a gun, I don't think you need to justify that pulling. She's riding a freaking revolver like a cowgirl. That's badass. Okay. There we go. Alright, snooze. Candace has a better design than most 5 stars. Okay. That is certainly hot. you guys definitely have the hotter side of these takes. And has a better character design than most 5, not 6. Character. Let's say design. Design than most 5 stars. Okay. Is it hot? I mean, I don't think it's that hot. She has a pretty unique design. Yeah, I don't think it's that hot at all. It's pretty... Like, if you were to ask somebody if they think Candace's design would be good, I think almost anybody could say, yeah, it's great. It's unique. She has the heterochromia. Not many people have heterochromia, so I don't think it's very hot at all. Are we talking appearance or are we talking gameplay? That's a good question. Is Snooze here right now? Yeah, are we talking character design? Or I assumed character design, not like gameplay design. Cause I think Candace has the gameplay design of a wet rock. I don't think it's that interesting at all. Yeah, I assume it means like character design, like appearance design. It's pretty unique in that she uses her shield with her normals, and the hold skill always looks pretty cool. Okay. Do I agree? Candace has a better design than most 5 stars. See, most is where I might disagree, maybe. I mean, it's a good design though. It is a good. You gotta pull it up. Her gameplay is fun, but she needs more particle generation. Valid. Let's see. Candace Genshin. The one thing I don't like about Candace, and this is mostly a me thing, I'm not a big fan of her hair. I don't hate it though. Yeah, she does have a really good design. Like, no one's gonna look at the design and be like, this is a bad character. This is a great design, for sure. Her is awesome? It's good, it's fine. I'm just not super into short. The moon thing takes a lot of care from the back. The moon looks a little bit doofy if you look at it from the back. It looks a little bit doofy. It's not. It doesn't look okay. It doesn't look that bad. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's a good design though. She has a nice design, but better than most 5 stars. I wouldn't say so. Yeah. She definitely has a lot better design than like some of the just okay 5-star designs, but I don't think she reaches like the pinnacle of like design of some of the 5 stars. But I mean, all Genshin characters are designed really well, to be honest with you. Like Genshin characters on the whole look amazing, right? So would I agree? Not fully. I think she can look better than like a good chunk of the cast, but most 5 stars, I think there's plenty of 5 stars that look a lot better for me personally. Avatar mascot for my account has a bob. I take that as an offense on one side. I didn't say there's nothing wrong with a bob. I'm just saying that, you know, my preference is that I like long hair a little bit better. She look at 5 stars, she could pass off as a 5 star. I would agree with that. I think she has a better design than most 4 stars though. Yeah. Most 4 stars, I would agree more. I think if this said most 4 stars, I would put this at a 4.5. But most 5 stars, I think a 2. I think a 2 is apt. But I also put the 2 on the hotness of it because I think everybody, like, I think most people would agree she has a good design. Okay, cool. The ponytail is proof of the long hair. Well, no, well, it's in a very specific section. Okay. That one. I hate all these character releases. What's the point to have 100 characters when you do nothing with them? Okay. That's an interesting one. How would I call that? How would I summarize that? All these characters, so too many character releases. What's the point of having 100 characters when you do nothing with them? Okay, it's kind of 2 parts. There's two, it's almost like there's too many character releases, I guess? There's too many characters, I guess? It's both? Okay. Too many characters / they don't do too much the characters. Okay. Hello? Can we move that over to the side? Hello? Dang, characters is a long word. There we go. Not enough content on the old ones. Okay. Because the old ones have had their content. I guess that's what the complaint is, I suppose. In terms of the hot scale, I feel like this is pretty hot because, like, that's what people want. No, I think it's pretty hot because that's what people want. I think most people would disagree with this, right? At least I would. Like, me personally. Maybe the second half I'm a bit more contentious about. But the first half I would honestly disagree with. I think more characters are better, right? I think if Genshin didn't release characters as much as they do, I think I would genuinely dislike that. And I mean, that, of course, that would work against their business model too, but that's also a different point. Um, they don't do too much with the characters. I think that's pretty. That's not too hot. I think that brings us back down a bit. Um, because you could say that they use characters more often than they use other characters, right? Like we can turn to Ito for a good example. Not as much anymore. But way back when, Ito was like in almost every single event. Like Raiden, for example, they haven't used Raiden. Raiden Shogun's never been the highlight of an event. Um, Oh, what else? What else? There's definitely favoritism with some characters versus other characters, right? Like Klee is in a bunch of events. Like Xiao gets a little whatchamacallit, a little cutscene every single lantern, right? And things like that. There is definitely favoritism. Like I ain't gonna lie and be like there's no favoritism. There's definitely favoritism when it comes to characters versus other characters. And I think that I think they can spread the love a bit more. I agree that they can spread it if that's what's being like proposed here. I definitely think they can spread the love a bit more. Some characters like Baizu should probably get more screen time. By the end of the day, he's less popular. No matter how interesting he may be, they wouldn't need to sell with less characters. They would just stick with some popular characters they have. Okay. Right from Peach is a girl. Right from a storytelling point, as an author, there are way too many characters to do almost nothing. As a game and to have in the pockets of parents, there's the perfect amount of characters. I actually disagree from the storytelling point because what is it? Genshin is all about like the mini stories, right? It's all about mini stories and like mini worlds. Like if you ever made a storyline with the entirety of the cast, I would agree, but they never do that. They always chunk the characters, right? There's never like let's take all these characters and then like they're all here and like it's a mess to like make everybody relevant or whatever. Like maybe you can argue sometimes the Archon quests can kind of do that maybe, but for the most part Genshin focuses on mini stories that involve a chunk of characters, usually two. Most stories are all about one or two characters with supporting casts, and I think they do a good job of balancing them. Because I don't think they ever really tried to do here's a gigantic story with like every single character, like except maybe the Archon quest. But I think even then they chunk it out enough that it's pretty fine. Not when viewed from the perspective of most players, but partially based on viewing Genshin as a video game with both gameplay and story elements. Yeah. There's a lot of characters, but half of them aren't real for the majority of the time, both in lore, screen time, and gameplay. Yeah, I definitely think the balance could be better. Like, again, like I said, there is favoritism. If we're talking about favoritism, there is 100% favoritism with some characters versus other characters. Like, I mean, yeah, my favorite character, Raiden's never had an event. Raiden's only ever been, like, the cryptic character that appears and says one thing, maybe two if I'm lucky, and then she leaves. There's been no event where Raiden is predominantly featured as a main or supporting character. She's always a, what is it? What would you call that again? Oh my gosh, what is it called? She just makes, like, a guest appearance and then disappears. It's like whenever they have an Inazuma thing. Yeah, she's like randomly in the forest during Heizo's event, and like you have like a couple sentences with her, and then she leaves. Versus like Ito, versus like Klee, versus like who's another character that gets featured a lot? Sino, honestly at this point, Sino has like appeared so many times in a bunch of events. Some characters could have their job done by a nobody, nothing would change. What makes them necessary? Characters would have their job done by nobody, nothing would change. What do you mean? Like, what, for example? Characters don't need to be more, they need to be valuable and memorable. Isn't that... I don't think that applies to Genshin. I think Genshin characters being memorable is the core of this, why this game is successful. I don't agree with that part at all, actually. Like okay, like I mean we just talked about Candace. Candace is like I don't know when it Yeah, I don't think that's the correct angle of like valuable and memorable. We just talked about Candace, who's barely in the story. Like the fact that these characters are memorable while not being in the story is a better testament to the characters. Mika exists. Yeah, Mika had a great scene with Noelle in that what was it? In the Diona event where what is it? Diona figures out the spirit that cursed her. Like it's I agree that they need to use the characters more, but whenever they use the characters and focus on them, it's good. Yeah, in an event. Yeah, that's I don't what's wrong with that? I don't know. I don't get what's the problem with it being an event. It doesn't need to be in the main story. Sure, some random chef can do Shunling's job, but Shunling is still a unique character at the end of the day. Yeah, yeah. I'm not dying on the take. I do wish they would do more what they already have. I think the wording could be wrong. But in the sense that characters seem to be cast aside and when they come back, and only a few when they clearly do more like the mini events. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would say, as much as I agree with this, I would say 1.5 maybe. I staunchly disagree with the first point of them being too many characters. I think them making more characters is what makes this game a good game. Not doing too much with the characters, I do slightly agree with that. I think they definitely have favoritism and they could definitely share the love a bit more with the characters. But in terms of like writing or whatever, I think they strike a good balance. I think they strike a better balance than most. Many moments in the story would be better without Paimon. Oh wait, no, it's a different hot take. Sorry, I thought you were talking about this conversation. We can get to that one. When you're traveling across the world, expected to not keep seeing with everybody. Yeah, yeah. Isn't Chi Chi like the most underutilized? Chi Chi's up there. Chi Chi's up there. I can't. Yeah, like Chi Chi has some Lantern Right stuff. I like it's so funny making what is it making what is her name again, Yao Yao. Making Yao Yao was the best thing that happened to Chi Chi because now they can put Chi Chi and Yao Yao together as like best friends, and Chi Chi gets highlighted a bit more because she's best friends. But yeah, Chi Chi's never had an event around her. Yeah, I agree that there's favoritism. Like if this hot take was Genshin plays too much favoritism with characters, I would like super duper agree because like there definitely is favoritism and it definitely needs to be balanced more. Um, that's why I think yeah, maybe I'll push it up to a two because I do agree that they don't do they could do more with more of the characters, but I think on the most Sarah, no, you're right, Sarah, it's actually Sarah. Sarah is the correct take. Even Sarah gets featured. I mean, yeah, even Chi Chi gets featured more than Sarah. That's actually true. That's actually true. Um, but yeah, I think that's a perfectly fine amount of characters. I do think some characters could be featured definitely a lot more. Chi Chi, Sarah, Raiden, freaking Raiden, one of the Archons. Even Zhongli, to be honest with you, like to be honest with you, if we're talking Archons, like both Zhongli and Raiden barely get featured. Venti is all over the place, especially when we go back to Mondstadt. There's always something with Venti to talk about. What is it? Nahida just had a whole birthday about her. Farina gets a lot of events around her too already. Like, and Mavuika is yet to be stated. She's featuring a lot in the story right now, of course, but that is her storyline, so. Ryan didn't even get that featured in his storyline. Ryan didn't even get featured that much in her storyline. Um. So yeah, I do think they need to do more with the characters. I agree with the second point a lot. She got invited to the Ito song event and sent a letter. That did happen. That did happen. That did happen. Okay. New page, brand new page. Let's go back to the Reddit for a little bit, and then we'll go back to your guys' takes. Let's go back to the Reddit for a little bit, and then we'll come back to y'all's. Alright. Boom. Boom. That was just funny. I'm not gonna talk about that one. Oh, you love it one Snowflake. Their account got deleted too. I love the fact that their account got deleted for saying this. That's so funny to me. Oh man, that's funny. I'm not gonna put that on there, but I think that's very funny. Shipping characters is cringe. Contentious. Shipping characters is cringe. 75 pity, no 5 crazy. Why is there a subreddit called Thanks Sino? I don't know. Okay, here we go. Shipping characters is cringe. Man, how do I rate this on the, how would I rate that on the hotness scale? Cause there's some people that all they do is ship. That's their content, right? All they do is shipping. And there's some people that hate shipping no matter what. Where did I put that in the hot? Existing is cringe there, right? Sometimes it is, but not always though. Okay. 4 out of 5 heat. Is it hot? I don't think it's that hot though, because some people don't feel. Well, a lot of people do ship. I don't care which who you ship as long as you don't let it get in the way of understanding the writing of the story. Valid. It's cringe when it's whack illegal stuff. Yeah. I think my only problems with shipping, if it's illegal crap, or you're like you think your ship is correct. Because at least with Genshin. Because Genshin makes it a point to not confirm anything. If you start speaking like this is a confirm, like, okay, that's weird. Or yeah, when people take it too seriously. I mean, I don't think it's that hot because I do think a lot of people would agree that shipping culture is cringe and people who ship can be really cringe. But at the same time, a lot of people do ship, so I'm gonna say that's a 3 on the hotness scale. We were talking about hot takes. I'm gonna say this is a 3 on the hotness scale. Oh, excuse me. When people self-ship, listen, you can self-ship all you want. Just don't be illegal about it. Don't start like insulting people because of it. And what is it? Don't start pretending like it's real. Don't like start pretending that it's real. Like you need that. Even I have that layer of like, I'm not delusional, right? Even I have that layer. No playable characters date in these games. Yeah, which is done intentionally. So like Genshin wants you to ship. Like let's not get it twisted, right? Let's not get it twisted. Genshin as a game, Hoyo wants you to ship their characters. They want to see, like, they want you to express with these characters how you can. Like let's not try and kid ourselves here. Genshin wants you to do it, right? They made that scene with Ningguang and Beidou, and like Ningguang saying like she finally caught Beidou's eye. They made that on purpose. Like let's not get it twisted. That's not like, yeah, we like the Acheron Black Swan cutscene. Let's not get it twisted now. They want you to ship these characters, right? Do some people go too far? Yeah, but the company themselves wants you to. The company themselves wants you to. The scale goes from 1 to 5. So the fire means how hot is the take, and then the electro icons means how much do we agree. So how hot is the take, and do we agree with the take? How hot is the take, and do we agree with the take? Do I agree? Is shipping characters cringe? I don't think it's cringe. I think it can be cringe. So do I give that a 2? I'll give it a 1.5. I don't think it's that cringe. But I think people can be cringe, and it is often a conduit of people being cringe. It's cringe taking it too far. Right. Yeah. Like listen, one of my favorite ships is I ship Fischl Bennett because I think it's really cute that Bennett believes Fischl in everything that she's saying, and they're both kind of outcasts in their own way, and that's the reason why I ship them. It's not that crazy. It's not, and they're both from the Adventurers Guild. It's not that crazy. It's not that deep. If someone disagrees with me, that's fine. If someone says like, oh, that's not canon or whatever, I don't really care. That's that's the ship that I believe in, and I think it's cute, and that's it. That's where I end. A lot of people who ship are cringe. This is correct. That's not the that's a different take. Yeah. Enjoy your 3 new Sam PvP abilities. Oh shoot, are you serious? Let's go. The whole Aethan and Kaveh, it's coming in like a bundle. Oh yeah. Those guys are just a married couple, and except the name. Ray's is coming in to interject that ship. I think I'm gonna say, what's her name? Barbara. There's a lot of people that ship Barbara and Bennett. I don't know why. If it's the act, yeah, shipping, the act of shipping, not people. The people that do ship have a high tendency to be cringe. It is a very high tendency to be cringe. I do agree with that. But shipping itself, I think, is fine. I don't think it's that cringe. Shipping itself is not that cringe, but it can lead to being very cringe. Yeah, people lose. It's the people, right? It's not the act of shipping. It's the people. It's the people getting delusional, thinking their ships are correct, thinking other people's ships are like bad or incorrect, or all the things that come with that, right? If you're just shipping, it's fine. But if you're aggressive about it, then it's iffy. Yes, and again, it's mostly the people. It's mostly the people, not the ship themselves. Unless it's an illegal ship. If it is an illegal ship, and I am calling the police, I'm calling. If you start shipping certain characters with certain characters, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. Oh. Some people are weird. Some people are weird, unfortunately. But yeah, shipping as a thing is fine. If you have ships and you want to celebrate those ships, right? You know, if you want to celebrate those ships, go for it. Make your artworks. Make your stories. Be like, I like freaking Kave X. I don't know, Kaya. Like, sure, whatever. You know, like you could do whatever you want with that, but you know, don't insult other people because of that. Don't be weird for whatever reason because of it, right? Don't dock the ships at the port. Yeah, Miu and Bro makes up the most weird ship possible, and Post Tavat has its own laws. Yeah, fair. Except for the illegal ones. Except for the illegal ones. I'm trying to think, what's my weirdest ship? I don't really have weird ships. I feel like I'm pretty vanilla for the most part. Kave Kai is a thing that's pretty popular. That is interesting. That is interesting. Huh. I think a funny ship is like what is it? What is her name again? Oh my gosh. Layla X oh my gosh, what is her name? Naganohara. Why don't I remember her last name? Oh my gosh, what is her name? Oh my gosh. Oh, what is her name? Her last name is Naganohara because Naganohara Firework. Yoimiya, there you go. I think that ship is really funny because Yoimiya is like hyperactive and Layla is really sleepy, and I ship it just because of that. Like, it's not that deep. Like, sometimes you have those ships that are not that deep, right? Sometimes you have those like super funny, stupid ships that's just like whatever. That's cool. You gotta try out all your level 100 villains of PvP. Oh, that's cool. My weird ship is Layla and Al Haytham. I like it. A lot of people don't. Not that it's weird, but it's unpopular. Yeah, that's a cool. I think I could see that. I could see that. I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, ships are weird sometimes, but as long as you're civil about it, right? I think that's what matters the most, is being civil about it. All right, cool. So is it a hot take? Kind of. Do I agree that it's cringe? A little bit, but who cares? Those that force feed it to others. I think shipping is fine. Like, I think Bennett Fish or Risley Coran looks cute, but that's it. Yo, based. Okay, okay, okay. Yandere Ayaka is definitely a meme. Okay. Oh, this is more of a gameplay one. Okay, we just had like a more character fun story one. This is a gameplay one. They should rebalance characters now that they've been out for years. Some are clearly poorly designed for the current meta. I know it's a gacha, but every other type of online game patches different classes and kits. Okay, they're talking about straight up patching. Okay. All right, yeah, that's a take. They should rebalance old characters / patch. Okay. Okay. They should balance / patch old characters. Rebalance / patch old characters. Is that a hot take? I don't think that's that hot. I think if you ask this what people thought about this, Most people would agree. I don't think it's that hot. I think it's actually quite cold. I think it's quite cold. I don't think many people would disagree with this. Yeah, I don't think it's hot at all. Do I agree though? That's different. Let's see what you guys think. Me and Kayak and me. There's a way to rebalance characters without making major changes to existing stuff. Okay, gonna disagree with this one. All right, it's called the Leap Upgrade System from PGR. Okay, I agree. Not hot at all. Yeah. Why is a new player gonna pull for Klee when you could get Arlecchino? Okay, not a hot take, but I am on board with it. What about nerfing characters for the sake of new? That's a different one as well. Let's focus on buffing. Or yeah, because yeah, let's focus on the weak characters. My initial stance, I think I'm at a 1 to be honest with you. Oop, out of 2. I think I'm at a 1 to be honest with you. I don't think I agree at all actually. Like I think they can, right? I think it's how do I say something that makes sense? I think the way that they have made old characters good is the way that they should be doing it. Because I think the thing that I don't agree with is the rebalance slash patch. I think because, and this is not like fully my opinion, because I'm also considering like the type of game that it is. Like it is a gacha game, right? And people when they pull for characters, they are pulling for an investment, right? So balance repatching characters. Do I think old characters should be, right? Like if we're talking, we just talked about Kaveh, right? Do I like in a perfect world? Would I be like? Could I be like, yo, make Kaveh a Claymore? Like yes. Make Kaveh a Claymore. That would make him a billion times better. Like 1,000% make Kaveh a Claymore. Should I say like make like fix Dia's issues, Dia's 10,000 issues that she has to be better? Yeah, but I think the way that Genshin does rebalancing, which is you introduce a new character that makes strategies more viable, or you introduce new artifact sets or whatever to make old characters viable. I think that's the better way to just do it. I think with Genshin's ecosystem, that's the better way, is new artifact sets or new characters that can push up these older characters and like, you know, now it's like, okay, now they're usable and things like that. I think that's just a better method than just patching it. I would say yes, some of the characters were clearly testing grounds and had kits that didn't turn as well together. Okay, yeah. You make Farina for Noelle and Jean. Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Like, Noelle before Farina is a very different character. Like, she wasn't used too often, not too strong. You could build Noelle and play Noelle if you wanted to. But once Farina comes out, Noelle is a whole different character. And again, I think that's just the better way to do it. That kind of stuff is unlike the Netherfish characters like Shan Yun or Mika. I mean, you say that, but there was like for example, with Shan Yun did get better with, or Xinyan, excuse me. Shan Yun's a different character. Xinyan did get better when Mualani came out, right? Like, there's better options with Mualani, but Mualani existing did make Xinyan a bit more better. Like, it gave her a team to be in. Before, she didn't even have a team she could be in. But if you have Mualani, like, Xinyan is not a bad character. With her shield and the pulsing, like, she's not a terrible character to put with her. She is an option for that team. There's no artifact set that will decrease Xinyan's enemy count needed to actually proc her shield application. Yeah, like, there's definitely characters that are weirder, but I think they can do something, right? Because I agree with what you're saying of like, oh, she needs something very specific to make her usable, but I think they could make this very specific thing. It might be weird, right? Like, it could literally be like if a character has an elemental shield like XYZ, right? And it's like, oh, now all characters with elemental shields are a bit more viable. And then it's like, okay, Xinyan got a little bit better, Diana got a little bit better, etc. Even Zhongli got a little bit better. Or maybe that thing wouldn't necessarily be better for Zhongli versus something else, right? Like, there are things enough that she does that it's just like, okay, we can get something here. Or Arlecchino for Candace, right? Or Candace with Farina, right? I forgot I can say this now since Natsun's been out for a while. There's a rumor way back in 4.0 that Hoya was going to do stuff like increase the level cap to 100 for 5.0, which could have served as rebalancing, but never happened. But the elemental reaction thing happened, so who knows? Maybe it's a possibility later down the line. Level cap 100, like introducing a new passive? Okay. Okay, that would be interesting. I do think it's a little bit different than a rebalance, though. That's like a new... I think I'd agree with that more because that's like a new thing for everybody that doesn't. It's not like it. I'm not saying it doesn't change the character because, like, right, if they added a passive like level 100 and a new passive for every character, of course that changes the character. But that changes the characters universally. I think that's what I would prefer is like changes that is not for one specific character. It's things that are made on a broad scale that is kind of put out. Excuse me. Excuse me. There are sets that boost shield strength, but it isn't enough to make her shield tanky. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She occupies some overlapping niches with characters that are unlikely to release something that will help Xinyan enough because it might overskill others in her niche. Potentially, yeah, yeah, potentially, yeah. Yeah, I do think Xinyan is a really specific example as well. I think Chi Chi's another good example, right? Like I don't think there's any team for Chi Chi right now. If you want me to be really honest with you, I think Xinyan is more usable than Chi Chi is. I genuinely think there is literally no party that you would really use Chi Chi in. At least with Xinyan, you could maybe say it's not bad if you put her with Mualani. But I genuinely don't think there's like a team that really you would put Chi Chi in. Half of Xinyan's issues is in her kit, and the other half is that she has no weapon or artifact that truly works for her. Right, yeah. But I feel like they could fix that with introducing something new, whether it be a character, whether it be an artifact set, versus just rebalancing or patching. Because I think the precedent that sends is a bit... Well, it's like a design mentality they don't want to follow. I think it's mildly disingenuous to say one was gonna, because that was never confirmed to determine. Okay. There was questionable leaks in later 4.0 versions to giving characters extra passive at 100, which could potentially help other older characters. Okay, yeah. I would be more on board with that. Again, because that's like a more universal... Like, a new artifact set is universal, right? A new character being released, that's a universal thing, because you can put any character with anybody on the team, right? So that's more of a universal thing. I think I'm doing more universal things versus doing a specific patch for specific characters is something I prefer. It was purely Aspel. Okay. It was a rumor, yeah. Not dying on this one. The Sumeru 4-stars are kind of weird to play. Yeah, I agree with that. The devs are making them, and a good fix would be appreciated. But again, I think the fix, in my opinion, I think the fix is putting out artifact sets for them, putting out characters that make them better, things like that. Because I agree that, especially with the Sumeru 4-stars, the Sumeru 4-stars I think are some of the best example of like weird characters that they put out that not really anybody uses. For sure. Yeah. The secret Chi-Chi Cloran tech. Oh yeah, that was a thing for a little bit. The party's funny, but it's definitely not good. Chi-Chi has Clorand. It's more of a meme build. That's more of a meme build, to be honest with you. Layla is Slay. Layla has second shield strength only to the G Archon herself. Right, like, yeah, Layla has that niche too. The best at level 100 thing is something similar to the leap system in PGR, and it's additional stuff add on to characters that's farmable in game that helps them catch up to newer characters, whether it be better damage numbers or better buffs. Okay. Yeah, something with like that, right? I think that's something that I would agree more. That would be better is like, here's a new system. Here's a new artifact set. Here's a new level ascension with a new passive, right? Versus like, here's the patch notes for the characters that we buffed. I think the former is better than the latter. I'm fine with their current strategy of quote-unquote buffing, but they could be more efficient with it without breaking their philosophy of not doing patches, nerfs, or buffs. They could be more efficient with it. Yeah, they could be more efficient with it. I agree with that. It makes it more of a turret, but you do have the option to ignore it. Okay. I'm so impressed as how the Thundering Fury team actually works well. When Dendro was introduced, Razor is actually not a terrible character anymore. Oh yeah, C6. You play Razor with C6 Bennett. you can make a party happen. Like that's a party. You do Razor C6 Bennett, like what is it, like Nahida Hydro, like everything just starts exploding with a bunch of numbers. It is very very satisfying. It is extremely satisfying. I think that too is a big thing. We haven't really talked about that at all in regards to this. Is like going back to our old meta discussion. Like, if you want to be really, 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 really honest, right? You, not any character needs to be rebalanced, and the reason I say that is because the ceiling of Genshin's difficulty is so low. If you want to play Xinyan, you can make a bunch of parties with her and make it work. It's gonna be weird. She's maybe not gonna have too much impact, and it might be difficult or frustrating to make, but you can make it. Right, this game is freeing enough and easy enough that you can do anything with any character. I do think that's a good point to bring up. Is that because the game is so easy, it's like you can make any character work. Like you can make DPS Chi-Chi. It'd be weird, but you can make it. You can make Xinyan useful. Like, again, it'd be kind of weird. It'd be kind of frustrating and annoying maybe, but you can make it work. You can definitely make it work. And you can't say that too much for other games as well. But I think that's a good point to at least mention. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, Xinyan, Neuvillette, Farina, Shallonen goes crazy. Yeah. Especially if Neuvillette C0. Shields on Neuvillette C0 are just a good thing. Meta wise, it isn't needed, but the character being strong could do a lot of Yeah. Right. I think again, it's a valuable thing, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's necessary at all. If we're talking purely from a gameplay aspect, I don't think it's needed at all. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt. Cool. Should they rebalance patch old characters? I think it's not that hot because I think a lot of people would agree with this idea. But do I personally agree with it? No. I think there's better ways to balance and buff characters besides here are patch notes and here's what we changed about characters. Cool. A little bit curious what Reddit said about that. If we were legally allowed to, I believe, but I'm pretty sure besides outright buffing them, there's only change the character supposedly it's illegal in China. That too. Also, it's also a legal thing, because it's a gacha game. They can't change characters too much after release. That's also a good point. Didn't mention that as well, but it is also a legal thing. It is also a legal thing. Okay, let's see. I just say the R&R quest is really good and people are lazy, but people have been agreeing with me on that. I'll say Sumeru's underground desert, especially in the 3.1 area, was a blast to explore. One of my favorites. Okay, that's hot. Someone get Will Smith. Okay, Sumeru Desert is fun to explore. Bro, that's a 10. That place sucks. That place sucks. I hate that place so much. That's a freaking 10, dude. I hate that place so much. I hate it. It's hot. That's hot, dude. That is hot. That's a hot take. That's definitely a hot take. Hear me out. I'll hear. I agree with this person. Okay. I like exploration too, but the desert is like, it's just so, it's either, okay, my issue, right? The desert suffers the most from multi-layered levels in Genshin. Like, layered levels in Genshin are a little bit annoying, but it's usually not that bad. But the pyramids and stuff has way too much with that. And, like, there's, like, so many areas that are just replicas of other areas and looks the exact freaking same. And there's so much sand. There's sand everywhere. And it's not interesting layouts. It's just sand. It's just dunes with a random chest in there sometimes. Like, I did not enjoy it. Let me read the whole thing again. Sumeru's underground desert, especially the 3.1 area, was a blast to explore. One of my favorite experiences in this game. Okay, yeah. That's the 1.3. Anakin, is that you? Dude, and it also ruined the dailies! Bro, the daily... Okay, Sumeru dailies before the desert is some of the fastest dailies in the game. Once they introduced the desert, so many of those dailies became, like, so much slower. Like, the little guys that dig underground, that takes so much more time than like the bouncing mushrooms and things like that. And there were some more annoying ones too. Like I swear to you, it made it so much worse. Yeah, like the Severa dailies before the desert, I feel like were some of the quickest dailies ever. And then once they introduced it, it's like got so slow. I agree with this person. Okay, it's objectively a horrible game design. They're objectively incorrect. I enjoyed explaining the pyramids. Like I didn't mind the first pyramid, but like the like appearance wise it gets so synonymous with each other, and then like again the multi-layered stuff, sometimes I would get so lost and miss like such a small thing that it was more so frustrating than it is enjoyable to explore it. I don't know. At the time the desert would sell, but when the maps drops I actually enjoy it. That's true too. Like we had to deal with layered maps before the layered map thing was really a feature. That's a good point actually. Layered map was not a feature in the game. It you just had to you just got a new map when you went under, and it's just I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't like it. If you're an exploration nerd, I can see this being valid. I don't think even as exploration is that in. Treasure feels like actual treasure. I don't know. The treasure for me feels like relief. Like I could leave. Pretty much with the rest of the rest of the. I definitely don't like exploring the desert, but I like the stories in the desert. Yeah, like the jet story is cool. I do agree that the stories were pretty cool for the most part. In terms of exploration, I actually didn't like the overworld desert. I like exploring the ruins more. Yeah, the overworld desert is so boring. There's nothing. It's just sand. It's just sand and some ruins and some of the chests or imaginary platforms. Enkanomiya, the chasm, or the desert. Enkanomiya is great. Wait, people didn't like it. Okay, aside from the day-night cutscene, I think Enkanomiya had some great puzzles. I thought it was fantastic. Like there is some time killing because of the day-night cutscene, but yeah, I thought Enkanomiya was fantastic. Chasm, I'm medium on Chasm, but yeah, that desert. I hate the desert. For the maps, Ground Dog. After the maps, it's better than the Sumeru Forest. Okay, that's a little bit more valid. The Sumeru Forest also is not good. Also, never said the desert was good. Yeah, they said fun to explore, which I don't think it was. Yeah, the day night mechanic, that cutscene was too long, but the puzzles themselves, I think, are really fun. All puzzles are garbage. I like some of the backtracking in Konami. Okay, okay. Enka would have been better if you didn't have to watch the anime. Yeah, yeah. Besides the animation taking time aside, like I think I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Dragon Spine is an example of bad application of an understandable element of a snowy place. I think Dragon Spine is also pretty bad. I think about the puzzles in Dragon Spine though. I think the puzzles are just fine. Yeah. If I like the story of the region, I wouldn't mind exploring the region at all. That's valid. I think if Dragon Spine was introduced later, people would hate it less. Maybe? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. We have characters who can certainly beat out the health loss now, like Shinobu. Yeah, and Dia. Shield Call isn't that bad with the newer characters, so I think it was released now. It would get a lot less hate. Yeah, yeah. Some of the places for the red rocks in the tree and Dragon Spine were complete. Yeah, yeah. People wouldn't go in too early. If they're released now, people wouldn't really get struggle there. Yeah, okay, okay. Okay. So, in terms of hot take, all right, I'm gonna be more realistic about this. I think it's pretty hot. This is a pretty hot take. Most people say they hate the desert. Would I agree? I don't agree at all. Actually, I'm actually gonna put it. I'm gonna keep that 0. I think, at the most, the puzzles can be kind of decent, but it's pretty boring. Like, because I think the desert includes not only the ruins, it also includes the desert itself. And the desert isn't fun to run through. It's a lot of just empty, just